to lead them, what do you expect they get back? You're going to get duplications. You're going to get a bunch of shining serpents. And you know what the Bible say about that? They come as wolves in sheep clothing. So there you go to that fact. You know, all of this is happening over your face. You ain't got to say a word. You know, now today, I ain't even got to ask a person how they feel no more. You know, it ain't just social media. It's written all over them. They got it on their back. You know what I'm saying? They got it on their arm. They got what influences them. Usually, when I was growing up, they used to draw it on a piece of paper. You understand? It was on paper. They used to put it on a piece of paper, and they used to help. They used to help them with arts and crafts. And so today, we get in a position and place where we don't really want to get back to that. We don't really want to get back to doing what's needed to be done. We don't really want to get back to the arts and crafts that we did. You know, it's written all over your face, your arm, your legs. That's a remix. Somebody need to come out with that. You know, my feelings, every thought that I got written all over my body. You got everybody's name. You got everything you ever looked at, everything you like. Instead of writing it on paper, and you can see, I'm not saying that I don't understand that. These people been through hurt at some point. They've been without. It's nothing proper about that. This wouldn't always happen like that. You can't tell me this has always happened like this for all life. This was not going on like that, like it has been the last year. When I was coming up, I did not see we never talked about, at least I never did talk about getting tattooed up or anything like that. I never thought of that. I never thought about writing on my back and all that mess, man. I can't even stand when to go through the basic stuff, you know, so in the hospital. So somebody putting a needle on me, oh no, that ain't gonna happen. You understand? I'm not gonna let you put that. See, they can deal with all that. That's pain. That is true pain. And see, when the people go through a pain like that, you cannot find it funny. You got to give them solutions. Then it's gonna be funny after the fact that they go through. After you go through it and you help them, then there's healing. Then there's laughter. Once you understand and bear the infirmities of another, then things can change. Then the joke is on everybody. We all can laugh. We can all say he. You understand? Like Michael Jackson if we want to. But right now, it ain't no he. It ain't no ha, because people are going through all directions of injustices. You know, they really are going through injustices like crazy. People are being hurt by loved ones and stuff like that. You got loved ones, they're not supportive. And when you want to do something, they be like, I don't think you should do that. You know, then when you do it, nobody else don't think you do it because they out of order. They want to put their destiny up on you. You understand? People want to put their own mind on you, and that's not gonna work. That cannot work. You cannot put your thoughts on somebody else. You understand? Because that might, to somebody else, might not be A1, as they say, in the communities or in the neighborhoods. It's not A1. In other words, like the young folks taught me, I'm not as young as they still be educating me a little bit. They said 100. I'm keeping it 100. So they going back to when you was in elementary school and a teacher started you off with 100 and say you started losing the only way you lose that 100 is if you start taking it from it. So they now starting to say all these years later, we keeping it 100. Ha! Now look how funny that is. Now that's funny. That's something to laugh at. You understand? When my generation, after all these years, when you was in school, they started you off with 100 and then took you down. You got 100 and they say the only way you lose this 100 is you don't bring your homework. You don't come to school and all of these things. That's the way you lose that 100. And so now the young folks talking about, I'm keeping it 100 now. After all of that, after all the stuff you done been through, you keeping it 100. Everybody done talk to you. You ain't got no uncle, no auntie. You ain't got nobody calling, nobody loving you, and a joke on you. You still gonna keep it 100. You still gonna find a way to Michael Jackson your way out of that situation. Man, you got nothing but my love and support if you can out your way out of that. Now that's funny to me because when I was in, that was a long time ago, and that's evident for the hour we're living in, because that tell you how long this mess been going on just for my generation alone. And the ones up under me. That's why, I believe they said it's hereditary, hereditarian or whatever, you understand? They say it's all that stuff. How I lost my hair. I'm like, no, I lost my hair because y'all crazy. I was trying to be like Bone Thugs and Harmony for a minute. So I let my sister, at the time I had a little afro, so she did some stuff, and then plus hereditarian, with however they pronounce it, you understand. I'm not a great orator, you understand. I'm an orator. I'm not eloquent, so to speak. That's not my gift. But what I do know how to do is talk hood ebonics. You understand? I know how to talk hood ebonics to reach people that understand how that was back in the day. You understand? When they were going through, this keeping it 100. Now it's funny today. It's still something that I'm going to look at deeper, because after all these years, you done went through all the school and everything and it dropped out and did this, that, and the other. Now you want to keep it 100. Well, we keeping it 100. We are keeping it 100. And I'm looking at that like, man, we keeping it 100 now. We keeping it 100. You started off with 100. You understand? Now we keeping it 100 now. We keeping it 100 all of a sudden. But it's all good and fine and dandy. That's how, that's how it is right now. That's how that's how their mindset is. So they going through all of these afflictions, they going through all of these necessities, they going through all of these distresses and all of that. They going through all of this. And so there's being ways out of no ways to help them. How do you help a person that's got it written all over their face? They used to say that. They said, it's written all over your face. You don't have to say a word. So now this generation said, it was just the actions they was talking about. It weren't actually words. My generation heard that song and started writing everything on their face. You understand? You start looking at it like, boy, what did you do? What have you been doing? What has really entered you today? What entered you for you to start writing all over yourself? When you could have took a piece of paper, you could have took a marker and you could have wrote that down, and you could have been doing all that. But instead, you would rather do everything else. That's crazy. You would rather do everything else and start putting it all over you and stuff like that. That doesn't make no sense at all. It doesn't make any sense at all, but it's hilarious because they've been through problems. They've been through problems and they've been trying to get solutions. They've been trying to get solutions. And so they've been trying to figure out these things. How do you understand a generation that has been writing on themselves? They've been writing on themselves. It's been a continued basis. You understand? They've really been writing on themselves, and they've been trying to get their family and friends to really understand them. They've been trying to really get them in. Some of them went through demonic activity at certain points. It was demonic influences or something like that. And so here it is. No one really understands the struggle of one like that. When you make the great one, which his mama named him Tupac Shakur, which by definition means shining serpent. Whoa. Shining serpent. And if you look up shining serpent, you start looking up the devil and everything, and all of that be resemblance of that. You be like, whoa, you understand? That all of this means that the devil, wait a minute, you understand, entered in. So then when he started speaking, you got to look at his thought. But one part of him, he was like, who do you believe in? I put my faith in God. You understand? And the other part, he like, I'm about to ride on you, like that. So it was a mixed personality thing going on in his body, and, he was already a baby of the Black Panther, his mama was very great in what she was doing according in the black community. So she did things. But when you have the honorable Tupac, you understand, that did a lot of stuff. He was like Elijah Muhammad a little bit to me, because he was before my time. You understand? So, like Malcolm X looked at Elijah Muhammad like, Tupac, man, you got all of this like that, dude. You understand? Elijah Muhammad, you got all this like this. So Malcolm started being like, hey, I got to do this way. You understand? And that's how I feel sometimes. Like, man, when I heard the NAACP using only God can judge me now, and then I started seeing in that community what was going on, I wonder why nothing was happening. Because this became a leader of a generation. This became a leader. Everybody in that generation loved that dude. Even people who didn't even know him, they love that guy. You understand? They never even understand who he really was. Generations later, because he was older than I was. You understand? So he is a little bit older than me. So when my generation comes up and stuff like that, and the end result, we still trying to get the results of everything. But say if he died, he died. But if he is living, then that's whole nother thing. If Tupac Shakur is living, man, that would be deep. It would be, if I was anybody, that didn't understand, like, man, what was you saying about this, that, and the other? Because I understand to a certain degree, but then I just don't see this thing, that thing, and the other. I don't understand what you were saying right there. I do understand how he said he was going to spark the mind of somebody. He said, I may not do it, but I'm going to spark the mind of somebody that's going to do it. And to tell you the truth, as much as he said in his raps and stuff,